All right. You're probably guessing this is a video about the new game mode roguelike, but actually we were tricked into coming into Scopely and we're in Mr. Beast's closet.
We're locked in here.
And this is part of Beast Games, and the last one to leave gets what?
Ultra cores.
Ultra cores. Yeah, we're going to get 500 ultra cores if we stay here the longest. So far we've been in here 6 hours.
They can't hear us if we're yelling. It's soundproof.
Yeah, soundproof room. I mean, we're literally locked in a, what is this? 8x8 closet.
You're very generous.
It might be 6 feet.
This is 6 by 6
feet.
Yeah.
I don't know what the.
At least we have Wi-Fi. We could get this video out to the public. Let us know what's happening because we're in this room for a while.
So we were shown a concept called ROGUE-LITE, and I think we saw a prototype, and we're going to play test it today. So what I wanted to start off with is what it means to you guys. Like, what is it? Is it going to be fun, or could it be fun? Why would you want to play it? What are the rewards going to be? How much time is going to take? So start off with, what is it?
Yeah, so a roguelite, obviously a new game mode. It would have the same sort of, that's not how you would say it. The gameplay will be with our characters, and we would find a different track to go through. And from match to match, node to node, resource to resource, it would change how the flow of the match is going to go. I'm doing a horrible job.
Well, you get different buffs as you battles. As you win a battle, you can get some buffs. You get new characters. So your experience getting to the boss is going to change every time based on the decisions you make. Based on some RNG, you might get good buffs, bad buffs. You could pick those, and you might get good characters or bad characters to choose from. And so it's going to change every time, and that's what I think is the most appealing. It's not like a dark dimension or a campaign node that they have to go create that and you fight the same thing. It's a new thing every time that the devs don't have to actually go in and create a new. So that's what is appealing to me. PvE content that's not the same all the time.
Yeah. In short, I think they are aware that dark dimension is probably the only meaningful PvE content we've had, but it's not repeatable. So this was meant to be fun, different, because they don't want it to just feel like war. So they're going to have these boosts of some kind. And we can give some examples of what they think they might do.
Or in other games.
Or in other games. Yeah, they just don't want it to feel so like, they're going to do, every time you play, it's going to be different. It's supposed to be repeatable. Okay, so did it look fun?
Oh, yeah.
It did look fun.
It looked like a lot of fun. The only comparison I can draw is DC Worlds Collide's Elseworld. And in that, you can get a boost that's like, increase strength characters attack by 50% when they're above 50% life. And so I try and map that out to Marvel Strike Force. What could that be? That could be blasters do 200% additional damage. And now all of a sudden I'm trying to craft the team of the characters I'm allotted around blasters. And just that sort of strategical gameplay difference maker is huge. Instead of leaning into like, I just want to use just the Liberty characters. Only Liberty characters because of the war mode. It can all of a sudden flip things on its head, and it sounds really exciting.
Yeah, as far as DC Worlds Collide, they have a lot of elements of Elseworld, but also a different game mode in there called Digital Universe. And I don't know if we could get too into the specifics of the buffs and things like that, but they mentioned a lot that they want to put in. And we may get them later on. We may not get them in the initial version. It may just be some vanilla version of these buffs and things like that. But some of the crazy ones that they talked about, just spitball, sounds really fun. And the crazier it got, I was like, oh, I want that even more. And that might be horrible, but I want to try it. I want to try it in the game.
The one developer seems super passionate. He literally just spat out one of the buffs that he envisioned, and all of us were like, "Oh, that'd be so cool!" Like, the people working on this, they're players, which is good.
Okay, so what does it mean to people that experience this? What could be potentially rewards, and how much time? I mean, I know it's iterative, like they're probably going to switch it up. But what was your take on what they pitched us?
Well, again, going back to DC Worlds Collide, I can get through Elseworld in 50 seconds. It's not going to be like that.
No.
There's going to be one playthrough where you're going to get the lion's share of rewards. And then if you want to go hard on it and get really sort of these intricate builds going, and you actually get meta benefits for additional runs that you do. So no run will ever be the same, even if you get the same buffs. And so I think that replayability is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the timing of it, I was a little disappointed on that. Because DC Worlds Collide, the Elseworld, that's something I look forward to all the time. And that's something that's done every single day. I was hoping it'd be like this, and it may eventually be like that, but what we were presented, at least for the initial version of this, sounds more like a flash event where it's gonna run X amount of days. It's gonna be gone for a while. We don't know, and then it's gonna come back. So while that thing is running, it's gonna be very fun for me because you could try a bunch of different runs. That's gonna be content. Could make it probably sounds like a good thing to stream as well or make content on. So I think it's gonna be everything that we got described sounds fun. Hopefully they could implement it like it's described or close to that, or eventually get to that place where we get that version of the game.
So tell me about what your feel for what we saw and your hope for what it brings to the game. Because I think we're pretty excited about it. Or lack of excitement, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. So the funnest Flash event, in my opinion, is Tower on the first 3 days.
Okay.
Right? When you're climbing through these harder floors and you're trying to min-max your roster, stuff like that. It sounds like there's going to be elements of that in this, where you're min-maxing your build instead. But unlike Tower, where by day 3, if not day 2, you reach the final floor and you're just doing the same thing every single day.
You're just trying to min-max that score with the exact same fights. Same fights.
You redo it, and the journey is never the same, right? It's like Dark Dimension. If you replay Dark Dimension, you're doing the same notes over and over again. Your characters are acting the same way over and over again. This changes that, and immediately I'm like, okay, now I have something to sink my teeth into and have fun for fun's sake.
And I don't like that it's based a little bit RNG and your decisions as well, because you can make all the good decisions. If you make all the good decisions, it's going to be exactly the same every single run, right? But you got some RNG in there, so you might get some bad characters. You may get some, oh, this buff sucks, this buff sucks, this is only a little bit good, it's not very good. So you might not get the perfect run, and I think that's kind of the appeal for hardcore players that want like the perfect run. You could go back and just, I want to get this characters, I want these buffs. But it's also can appeal to like casual players as well, because if you just want to go through and beat the boss, you get your milestone rewards and you're done, fine. But that's cool too, because there's hardcore and casual players that play this game, and I think from what it sounds, this game mode is going to appeal to both.
Okay, so my final take is that we've been oversold things before, and so we'll see, right? But this has the highest level of interest of things that we've been oversold.
Yes.
For whatever that means, right?
Yeah. So when we saw the Battle World presentation like 2 years ago or whatever it was, my thought was, oh, this is going to be different gameplay. And what we got, in my opinion, was Raids 2.0. It's a node. Use your war team, use your raid team, whatever. Okay, now we're going to use Spears. Now whatever it gives me. And then Null was, I hope you bought Astral and you built Astral up, right?
Right.
This game mode, they explicitly are like, no, these boosts and the way that the nodes are going to go, it's not going to be the same. It's going to be different every time. That, to me, that's what made this presentation more exciting than Battle World, and why my hopes are probably getting too high.
Yeah, that was one of the 3 goals, right? They said one of their goals was more PvE content. The other one was have different gameplay. So not like War, not like the raids, not like Crucible, just different type of gameplay. And I think those buffs add that. Having a weaker roster potentially for some bad RNG characters can add that. So I look forward to the challenge. I think that's appealing to me.
So yeah, the way I see it is we were presented a concept that was very good. Yeah, like exciting and interesting. But then there's going to be implementation. Hopefully it's not a drastic step down from what we saw, because what we saw was pretty interesting and exciting, and it looked like it's going to be meaningful. And then lastly, there's an iterative process. So I think what happened with Battle World is there was a lot of change of people. There was a lot of ideas that were good. None of them got implemented. It was terrible.
Sounded like just they ran out of time to implement that stuff.
It was terrible.
Like, we don't have the resources to do this. You guys can do this one. So the version we got was piece. But they also said that they want a lot of these things in the next version of Battle World. So I'm not done with Battle World yet either. That may be the version that we initially were sold. But we'll see. They might run out of time on that one also.
Also, and this is just from the outside looking in, they knew Battle World was bad, and there was like lack of momentum when they were building it too. I don't know. We were there, right? We could tell. It's like they knew. Yeah, and then this doesn't feel like that. This feels like, oh, this has good momentum. There's a lot of personal incentive from the people that are developing it. They're excited about it, and I don't think it's fake. I mean, they really just want to. They're players and they want to make this well. And I was, but we'll have to see what's implemented. I really am curious to see.
It doesn't sound like this is going to be the first version.
Yeah.
That definitely doesn't sound like the final form. They sound like they want to get it in players' hands
Yes.
sooner than Battle World. It's not going to be finished, but so
Yeah.
I don't know what version we're going to have. But I think eventually we're going to have the version that we were sold. But it may not be this first version.
I think they have like an end goal, what it looks like, but I think we might get it earlier than that end goal. I would think, or we're gonna see it in game, before that, and hopefully it'll grow.
Non-final state.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep going. We got a bunch more stuff to see today, and we'll keep you posted on anything you want to see.
Maybe a play test.
My understanding is we're gonna get a play test of it, but and then lastly, they showed us what it looks like and what it was potentially going to be called. Was that interesting and exciting?
Yeah. It's going to be super hard not to leave.
Yes, I know, right?
Because it was so hyped. And when we saw the new environment, it was like, yeah, let's
It just
go.
totally makes sense, too.
Yeah.
It's a perfect selection. When you guys see it, because I think that's going to be the final name. When you guys see it and see the stuff, I think you're like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. All right.
Hopefully we can talk about it sooner.
Yeah, sooner than later. All right. Bye for now.